Hey everyone, let's dive right into this explainer because today we're going to completely flip what you think you know about nature. When we picture plants, we usually imagine peaceful green leaves just kind of soaking up the sun and drinking water from the soil, right? Well, forget that. There is a dark, totally fascinating corner of the botanical world where plants don't just sit there, they actually hunt. Welcome to our gallery of rogues. We're looking at nature's hidden killers. Imagine a total inversion of the food chain. We're stepping into this bizarre botanical world where beautiful, brightly colored flowers aren't just there to look pretty for pollinators. Nope. Instead, they are deadly traps, sitting patiently, just waiting for their next meal to wander a little too close. And you know what's really wild? The sheer scale of this? We aren't just talking about one or two freak mutations here. There are actually around 600 distinct species of carnivorous plants all over the world. They've evolved these incredibly diverse, honestly kind of sinister ways to survive in environments where the soil just doesn't give them the nutrients they need. To see how these plants operate, we're going to tour this gallery. We'll start with nature's rule breakers, then move on to the sticky snares, the monster mouthtrap, deadly tubes and pitchers, rootless and aquatic assassins, and finally wrap up with botanical rogues. All right, part one, nature's rule breakers, an inversion of the food chain. Let's look at the basic rules these plants are breaking by basically flipping the script on herbivores and becoming the predators. Moving on to part two, the sticky snares, deadly surface traps. This is our first category of hunters, plants that use what is essentially living glue to ensnare victims right on the surface of their leaves. A prime example of this is the Drosera. This plant is incredibly deceptive. There are over 130 different species of it, mostly found in Europe. In the summer, it blooms with these gorgeous white flowers and uses a really sweet, attractive scent to draw in flies and other flying insects. But the second a bug lands on its leaves, bam, the plant secretes a specialized glue and the insect is stuck tight. And here's the truly crazy part. The plant then physically folds its leaf around the insect to start digesting it. Some of the larger Drosera species don't even stop at bugs. They've actually been known to catch and eat frogs and small birds. No way, right? It's fascinating how diverse the hunting styles are, even just within this glue trap category. So while Drosera folds up its prey, you've got another plant called Pinguicula, which you can find across the Americas, Europe, and Asia, that takes a totally different approach. It traps bugs on its sticky green leaves, sucks out all the essential vitamins and minerals, and then literally just drops the dry, dead carcass so it can wait for a fresh victim. Then, on the extreme end, you have the Australian biblis. This thing is so incredibly sticky that locals actually use its jelly-like leaves as a natural glue. Speaking of the biblis, it's often called the rainbow plant because its vibrant, sticky leaves catch the sunlight beautifully. But seriously, don't let the cheerful name fool you. It traps caterpillars, bugs, and small animals with absolute ease. In fact, some Australian experts have even floated the terrifying idea that this plant's digestive enzymes are strong enough to use the human body as food. So yeah, this beautiful rainbow plant is basically the stuff of absolute nightmares. Okay, part three, the monster mouth trap, the mechanical snap. The crucial thing to remember here is that not all plants rely on sticky glue. Some use violent mechanical snaps. The most famous of these? Dionaea muscipula, way better known to us as the Venus flytrap. I mean, it genuinely looks like a little monster's mouth with jagged teeth. But what's truly astonishing here is its intelligence, because it can actually tell the difference between a living, moving creature and an inanimate object, like a falling twig or a raindrop. Some scientists actually believe it possesses a primitive type of brain or memory network. And you don't even need a slow-motion camera to see it work. The thing snaps shut in the blink of an eye. It executes the perfect botanical heist. First, it senses living prey wandering into its mouth. If the bug triggers the trap, the leaves snap shut tightly, trapping it inside. Then it stays locked up like a vault for weeks while it fully digests the meal. But if it gets tricked and closes on absolutely nothing, it actually realizes the mistake and pops back open every half hour to try again. Talk about efficiency. Let's move on to part four, deadly tubes and pitchers, the deceptive liquids. We're stepping up the danger now to look at plants that use inescapable pools of liquid to literally drown their prey. First up is the Darlingtonia, which is one of the rarest plants in the world, found only in parts of Northern California and Oregon. It has the perfect nickname, the cobra plant, because its bulbous top and forked leaves look exactly like a cobra rearing up to strike. This serpentine plant sucks its absolute favorite food, sweet bees, straight into a long, confusing tubular trap. And once that bee goes in, the structure makes it completely impossible to ever climb back out. Next up, we have the Sarracenia, which is native to North America. This plant is a showstopper. Bright, attractive colors, deep green lines, and sweet-smelling nectar. It forms this brilliant envelope-like cup shape, covered in downward-pointing hairs. It catches rainwater and morning dew to create a deadly little pool at the bottom. So bugs wander in for a drink, slip down those hairs, and drown. The plant then goes to work extracting vital elements from the drowned prey, things like nitrogen, calcium, and magnesium, just to fuel its own growth. From there, let's travel over to the jungles of China, Malaysia, Indonesia, and the Philippines to find the Nepenthes. This is your classic tropical pitcher plant. What's really fascinating here is its local nickname, the monkey cup. It actually gets that name because the pitcher is so incredibly large and holds so much liquid that monkeys literally drink from it during the rainy season. But for smaller creatures, falling into one of these is a total death sentence. The inside walls of the Nepenthes are unbelievably slippery, and the pool at the bottom isn't just water, it's this thick, sticky nectar. The pitcher is so massive that it doesn't just catch tiny insects. Frogs and small birds routinely fall in, realize they can't grip the slippery walls to escape, and, well, they meet their doom in that thick liquid below. All right, on to Part 5, Rootless and Aquatic Assassins, the Hidden Traps. Let's move to the most bizarre category yet, the rootless killers that execute their hunts completely out of sight. Looking at these two plants side by side reveals some pure hidden terror. Get this, neither of these plants even have roots. Utricularia, which you'll find in still lakes and rivers, features a beautiful flower above the water. But underneath, it deploys a literal underwater vacuum bubble trap. When a bug gets close, the bubble violently snaps open, sucks the prey inside instantly, and snaps shut to digest it. Then, on the other hand, we have Genlise. It grows in African and American wetlands and looks just like harmless yellow flowering grass. But it only has two leaves, one above ground and one entirely underground. It catches prey on the surface and then drags it down into that subterranean leaf chamber, mixing it with soil water to digest it completely out of sight. I mean, wow. And that brings us to Part 6, Botanical Rogues, a bizarre conclusion. As we wrap up this explainer, I think it's abundantly clear that these incredibly adapted carnivorous killers completely defy our basic expectations of the natural world. They aren't just passive scenery, they're active, aggressive survivors playing a deadly game. Which leaves us with a very practical, if slightly unsettling, final thought. Considering that you can buy a Venus flytrap at a lot of flower shops, and they're actually a highly effective way to naturally clear out irritating houseflies, would you ever invite one of these botanical killers into your own home? Let that sink in the next time you're watering your houseplants. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and keep your curiosity growing.